So here we are, finally. Hello, Steve. Finally in the trade winds. This is what it's like. It's a bit lumpy, lumpier than we wanted, but we'll cope. But we are honking along. There's Steady Eddie at the back doing his stuff, steering for us, and Kirsty's down below sleeping, and the two sails, one Genoa and two Genoas. Two Genoas, and wind's about 20 knots. So I wouldn't like to go the other way, but this way it's alright. Sun's out. There's some squally bits over, see, between the sail. Very rocky, bouncy. And we've basically got this at least until we get down to Cape Verdes. Hopefully it will ease off a little bit when we go across the Atlantic, but if not, at least we'll get there quickly. We're doing about 6 knots at the moment, 6-7 knots, and yeah, it's rather good. Just enjoy it for a minute. Big wave! Big wave. Okay, day 3 of being on Tradewind Passage. This is our steering, which we can see. We can't steer because we're actually locked off. This is the baby that's steering for us. This is Steady Eddie, our hydrophone, and it's a beautiful piece of kit. I'll just pan backwards a little bit. There we go. Basically, big red sail, big red tail. Point that into the wind. When the boat changes direction, it leans over. It leans over and turns. It's a special gearing system here where magic happens, and that magic then transfers itself down into this lovely big rudder at the bottom. And it's quite benign, fairly benign, 20 knots of wind at the moment, so it's doing a great job of steering. However, last night and the night before we had 30-35 knots of wind, and it just did the job perfectly. We had big seas. Every time the boat rounded up or rounded away or bared away or slid or whatever, in a very short space of time, the hydrophone unit, Steady Eddie, actually bounced itself back up again. We're so pleased with it. Best piece of foreground we've ever spent, and that's fantastic. This is our water collection pipe that comes down here, and into these buckets just here. Unfortunately, it's not raining, or it hasn't rained, not very much. So we're being a little conservative with that at the moment. And meet Danny LaRue, our towing dragging generator. It's called Danny, obviously, because it's a drag. And he makes a high-pitched squeaking noise as well, so quite apt. Anyway, that's generating a lot of power for us at the moment, about 4 or 5 amps. Doesn't quite do what it says on the tin. Doesn't do an amp a knot. It does a little bit less, but still 4 amps going in, and the rest of our power is generated by that monster there, which is useless. Except it came into its own the other night in that gale, because in the gale we couldn't put the tow generator out, and it really did start chucking some power into the boat then, but only when it's really windy. Lunch on the boat, still charging along. So, bright blue sunny sky on that side. This is what we expect, and then that is a squall. Looks like it's going to pass to the on our starboard. Don't think it's going to threaten us, but that's the sort of thing we have to contend with. You're sort of sailing along quite nicely, and some black horrible thing comes up behind you, and can get you severely wet and severely windy. But not too. I mean about 4-6, high 4-6s. So, but other than that, it's rather good. So there you go. But we do get a lot of water from those as well, so that's quite cool. are now in, so if we went slightly dipsy-daisy, we're not going to get any water in the boat. The seas have steepened, the sky has gone black. Squall City, here we are. However, we might be able to catch some water with a bit of luck. We've reduced the sail right the way down. We can't reduce the pond, but we can dump it in an emergency anyway. We've got a very small genoa, just for stability really. And we've slowed right down speed-wise, but the wind is now, as you can see, sort of gusting up to 30 knots. That was from sort of 18 a few minutes ago. So you just got to be ready. This is why we don't like the main up, because now we have to start putting reefs and things in. This way it's quite easy to manage. Woohoo! Getting wet!